My name is Brenda Seldin, and my work with the Travelers. And by the way, if you haven't seen my website, the Travelers are interdimensional beings that have come here to Earth. They're kind of like a Peace Corps. They go from place to place to help civilizations that are on the cusp of becoming starfaring peoples, and that's where we're at. We might just be right at the beginning, but we're there, and they're trying to help us to heal, to be happy, because they believe, and I believe, if you're happy and you're healthy, then you're just naturally joyous, and you naturally want that for others. And so that's their basis, and the work that they do in partnership with someone. Someone would have to invite them in. They do it with you. They don't do it through you, for you, in spite of you. So really setting on the journey of deep healing means really looking at yourself and really saying, what do I need to do? What work do I need to do? And just be willing to do it. So, but my story begins, my main thing is I'm a channeler. I can connect and speak with anything in spirit. So I started out as with a wildlife rehabilitation center, and that's where my animal communication abilities started out. I only found out I had them when I did a workshop, and it came through really easily. I had some land in Sullivan County where it used to be a hunt club, and I saw this male deer coming, and he was just standing about 50 feet from me. And I'm just sitting on a rock and just telling him, you're safe, this is your home, there's not going to be any more hunting. And at the end of my 2-minute speech, probably too long-winded for him, but he just looked at me and he nodded 3 times and he walked away. And that was the first time where I was like, felt a connection and just the ability to really communicate. And since then, I've communicated with everything. Everything has spirit, the trees, the land, the stone, the rivers, every animal, insects, you name it. They all have their personalities. They all have their beautiful spirits, and it's not based on what the outside looks like. So whether it's a little pebble or a little field mouse versus, everybody always wants to have as their power animal ally, the eagle, the bear. Sometimes people will work with the spirit of animal comes to them, that's frog or field mouse, and they're just as powerful. So, and then from then, I was connected to the Akashic Records, and the Akashic Records are the records of everything in the universe. The records of everything we've been, we've done, our potential paths, our spiritual gifts, our connections to others and to places, and it's like a library where you can go in and receive all this information. And I've been able to use that to help people to heal. Is a certain blockage happening in this lifetime? Is it because it's a past life issue? Is it something that you've inherited through your ancestral lineage on your mother or father's side? Or did you do it all by yourself, in this lifetime? Because people do that as well. And it's when I was able to connect with the masters, teachers, and healers of the Akashic Records that in 2013, on a weekend when I was doing a full moon ceremony, that I heard in my head a voice saying that they were the travelers, and they were beings that had a base, but it's not militarized, it's just the word base, like that's where they have, base, a compound on the dark side of the moon. And they came to me and they wanted me to channel their messages. And I had a little bit of interest in extraterrestrial beings, but I wasn't really expecting to hear from one, and it wasn't one of those things where I was like, okay, let's do it. I was like, I don't know who you are, I don't know what your messages are. And it was a back and forth for about 4 years. And at some point, just to nudge me more, I would see I'm still finding out what things are, but I would say maybe they're ships, like in the form of fireballs. Some of them were like fireballs. Some of them were like like stars with the points all elongated, like just huge, thin, tall, bright stars that I think are like their portals. I've had the experience where going out to walk my dogs and look to the left and it's like after midnight and I see this huge blue and white star portal that goes from the ground all the way up to the top of the trees. And I kind of knew it was for me. It was like 1 a.m. and I decided to walk towards it. And it was just as I walked towards it and I went under a tree, it would get smaller and smaller until it was in the sky. Now, what you have to understand that these beings are coming in from other dimensions, and when they come, they can't be physically in our dimension and we can't be in theirs. So they've explained to me that they create these pocket corridors where there's an intersection between their dimension and ours. And so a lot of the things that I see don't fall under the laws of physics, you know, on our planet. So I was telling Terry or Lydia, I'm sorry, I forget whom I was speaking with, that I'm starting to understand what their ships are, and so on my photographs that I brought some and they're on the table, these energies look really huge. And yet when I see some of them with my naked eye, they're really tiny, like 1/4 of an inch or like 1/8 of an inch, like really tiny. So, you know, the way that they are expressed within our world energetically. And again, the other night I saw their really tiny little silvery ships. And one moment, one of them is like against the side of my house. And then the next moment it's just in front of me. So the ability to materialize and dematerialize. And for instance, oftentimes I see them, the way they appear is on this 45-degree angle, thin thread. It looks like a spider thread. It's translucent. It's usually about 5-6 inches long. It'll refract colors like pink and blue like you would see in a spider web. And it'll have one of the tiny little ships that look like they're about 1/4 of an inch. Lately they've been looking silvery, but they looked bronze when I saw them. And I remember once just looking up in the sky, and I have a floodlight in my side yard that looks down. So there was a little bit of light, but not a lot. But I could see the little tiny ship on the thread like over 10 feet above my head. I shouldn't have been able to see anything like that clearly, you know, with the human eye and the almost darkness. But again, their laws of physics from their dimension. My home has become, I think, a vortex field, and I hope to open it up in the near future to have regular activities so people can experience it. But I believe that my home has become a vortex field where their dimension is anchored in. Since March 2017, I started to take photographs, and these energy phenomena started to appear and videos. And since then, I have over 1,000 photographs. I do it on a nightly basis, and tons of videos, and I'm putting it together for a presentation. But in October of 2017, they said that these energy phenomena, they were advanced energy healing tools, and that they were sending them down for me to use to share with people, places, things, and that the power that they hold is to cover an area the size of the state of Delaware. So it's pretty large. And so since then, in November, I started to just ask people, would you like to be part of a long distance healing group? I want to try this out. And 90% of the testimonials on my website are from people that just were part of the long distance healing group that never came to me personally. So the changes, the healings, not just on the physical level, but just on the mental, emotional level for everybody has been really exciting and tremendous. It's up to you to decide that you want to heal, that you follow the energies and you go where you need to go to grow. Sometimes for some of us that's hard and we get stuck, or we're afraid, or we're not ready, or we put it off. But if you really go with it, it's just been absolutely amazing. So what I'd like to do is start out with 5 minutes of just quiet, of inviting in the travelers and the healing energies. And if you'd like, mentally, you can invite the travelers and the healing energies so you experience them. And then I'll begin the channeling. And then I'd really love it if people, after the message, if people had their own questions about what I've said or about anything else, about the travelers, or anything else that they can answer. It's interesting, I'm coughing. When I cough, it feels like I'm being told that I'm releasing something, or something needs to be released from one or more of you. So quietly in your minds, if you so wish, say, I invite the travelers in, and I invite the healing energies in. And then I'm just going to take 5 minutes to bring in the energies. We are the travelers. We are a people of peace. We have journeyed far to come to your section of your galaxy. We have visited twice, and this is our second visitation. The first time, our pod, as we call our family groups, had traveled here in the past 26,000 years ago. We came with our leader to implant our consciousness in a human body. That human body is this one that you call Brenda. She has been on this planet incarnating lifetime after lifetime in order to understand human consciousness, human physiognomy, human culture. We have seen many civilizations of humans rise and fall, and each one was marred by brutality, by war, by greed, by hatred. We have waited until the time when a great awakening is to take place. The Great Awakening is a conjunction of many different energetic and spiritual aspects that are coming together to push forth the human being into a new form of existence, a higher spiritual and mental form. Your people are on the cusp of traveling through this universe, reaching out to the stars. You shall be welcomed by those of us who see your potential, your goodness, your love, your inventiveness, your humor. We delight in your humor, for that is not something that exists in every civilization out in the stars. It is truly a unique human characteristic, and it has taken us many years to understand what humor is, because it is a delight in and of itself with no obvious result or reward except the reward of joy. It is a form of bonding and sharing, and we most admire that. In our timeline, which is much longer than yours, our civilization started as one where the same problems that your civilization has encountered, the problems of war and greed and violence, those we had encountered. And it took us many thousands upon thousands of years to evolve to the point where we exist solely to be of service to one another and to others in the universe. We have taken upon ourselves to put forth the helping hand to your kind. And so it was Brenda in her former incarnation who had chosen this small planet, this small galaxy, in this small corner of the universe to travel to. Our pod, our family, is made up of 27 individuals, of which she was one. In our civilization, we have created a form of bonding in which we must all live and work together at all times. We each have our own personality and thoughts and desires, but we only work and express and manifest those that we know will not cause harm to others And so while there is individuality, the goal is the group, the ultimate happiness of the group and all within it at all times. And so we were sad to leave our brethren Brenda behind, as she lived a life of many lifetimes and learned to heal and learned the different spiritual paths that exist on this planet. She began in the times of the Egyptian pharaohs, and in many lifetimes there, she served the gods and goddesses as a temple priestess, and at times as a temple priest. And through the different ages, she continued until at this time when her consciousness had arisen to the point where the connection could be made to our consciousness, which exists in a vibrational frequency that is much higher than yours. And it is at this time when the world itself is vibrating at a higher vibration, ready to rebirth itself, that we were able to make contact with her again and begin the process of sending the healing energies to this planet. Human beings, you are special creatures in this universe. You do not realize the gifts that have been imparted to you that you carry in your DNA. Part of our task is to awaken those sleeping gifts and to raise up your current natural abilities. These abilities are those that you call of the spiritual and of the healing and telepathic nature. Understand that your gifts will express themselves at the highest point when all humanity works as one, when all humanity is caring and living and concerned and helping not just humanity, but all the beings on this planet. The beings on this planet are ready to leave their physical forms and rebirth themselves as energy forms that are ready to travel through the stars back to their home planets. Many beings here, including many of you, are originally children of the stars that have come here either as a place where safety can be found for your kind or to be of service to those here. Some of you have past lives where your journey here came as a result of an idea to conquer, to take ownership of the energetic and physical resources of this planet. But those of you who are here, who had started on that path, are here in this room with us because through the varying incarnations as human beings, you have learned and opened your hearts and set aside that initial goal of greed. We are aware that at this time there is much change on the planet itself. There's much chaos, and it is seen at every level, from the smallest seed in the earth to the largest volcano. Through every human being that sits here and every human being on this planet, there is much unease. There is much dis-ease. There is a sense that there is little in one's life that can give true happiness. There is a portion of your population that is desperate to gather and to hold to themselves a large quantity of physical things, physical material goods that they believe will bring them happiness. The accumulation of money, the accumulation of jewelry, cars, what have you. They shall soon see that this is worthless and only brings about a greater degree of despair and emptiness. There are many that are suffering but are connected in their hearts to the higher energies of their paths and are able to see that though they suffer, there is a greater good occurring, and though their bodies may be uneasy, their minds and their spirits may be experiencing periods of sadness or anxiety, that is a level that shall soon be transcended. That the more they connect to the higher energies, the energies from the stars, the energies from this earth, the spiritual energies that are open to all, for there are many doors to the one light, they shall see that they are able to shrug off their shoulders whatever it is that is bothering them, whatever it is that is causing them pain. It is a time of unburdening. Do not hold things to yourself, allow them to flow. Do not be ashamed of your sadness, do not be ashamed of your anger, do not be ashamed of your actions, those especially that hurt others. There is a need to quietly show love to oneself and to others, and in this showing of love, release will occur, and the flowing away of those things that causes pain, those things that in us that cause us to cause others pain, they will flow away, and there will be an emptying of the heart of those things that leave their shadow substances upon it. And upon the emptying of the hearts, there will be room for the light to expand throughout the heart and expand beyond the heart, through one's whole body and beyond into the world. It is this heart light in the human being that is the connector between us, the travelers, and yourselves, between one another, between yourselves and every being on this planet, including the planet herself. We must tell you, if not warn you, that there are other civilizations in the universe that are becoming impatient and are feeling very weary of the human civilization. They are waiting for humanity to reach a higher point, although they would like humanity to reach the zenith of their abilities to be loving and caring towards themselves and towards others. There is a clock that is ticking, and we would suggest to you that there is a tipping point with which will satisfy these other starfaring civilizations that are looking to see if humanity is worthy of joining the greater brotherhood and sisterhood of the stars. And we say unto you to take this day and to make it your highest calling, to heal yourself, and to share that healing with others, and to share that healing with the planet. For we must all create a tipping point within the next 20 years, and that is the number that we have been given. Earth is on the clock, and there is great gifts that are waiting to be given to humanity and to the planet. Great gifts of technology that will change and heal the environment, that will save the planet, that will stop it from disappearing into a conflagration of fire and ice. We say that this can be done, and we are here to stand by your side and do it. On the planet Venus, there are what we call watchers, and these watchers have been tasked with recording this planet's history and transmitting it to others in the universe. We know that there are many, such as ourselves, the travelers, but of other civilizations, what you call the Greys, the Pleiadians, those from Uranus, those from many starfaring beings come from the Milky Way. There are many that walk amongst you, unrecognized by you, who are here to help. At this moment, we would like to gift you with a small token of our faith and our love for your kind. And it is in your eyes a small orb of light that at this time we would like to send to your heart to share with you our love with you. And this orb of energy, if you so welcome it, shall also act as a connector to us so that each one of you can connect to us. And at this time, we would like for you to experience the energy of what it is to be in our presence, in our dimension, what it is to feel those energies, because we would like to create an awakening in each one of you and welcome you into what we call the human pod or the human family. And so at this time, we shall do this exercise or visualization through Brenda. And so please close your eyes, take a breath, release. At this time, see a small orb of light energy, yellow-white in color, pulsating, almost like a quickly beating heart. And you see it floating in front of you at the level of your chest. And slowly it merges into your chest, into your heart space. And as it merges, you feel yourself becoming warm. You feel a sense of peace. And a smile may be alighting on your face at this time. And this beautiful ball of light rests within your heart space and starts to pulsate. And each one of you has this pulsating light energy. And the pulsating light energies start to sync up between all of you and all of us, so that they start to pulse at the same rhythm. And as they begin to pulse at the same rhythm, beams of light shoot out, connecting your heart orb to the heart orbs of each and every one of us in this room. And a tapestry of light beams begins to be created. And we begin to feel the solidity of being one, being a group, a family. And as we all become connected, we start to feel our bodies rising up, slowly floating up into the dark night. All of us are rising upward at the same time into the darkness. And the darkness of night becomes the darkness of space. And we may feel an upward rushing of energies through our head as we start to enter the field of the travelers. We may feel our heart racing a little bit, our blood racing. We may feel the pulsating of our hearts a little more strongly. There may even be a little bit of a slight sense of dizziness or vertigo, but it is merely the shift in the field of energy that we are in. And as a group, we travel upwards through this dark of space. And in the distance, we see a tiny point of light. And we can feel ourselves as a group all moving together toward that point of light. And as we come closer, the point of light becomes bigger and bigger. Yellow-white, pulsating light continues to grow as we get closer, until it is the size big enough where our whole group can go into it as one. And so as we get closer, we start to enter this field of light, and the darkness turns into bright light that is everywhere. Beautiful yellow-white light encloses us. And we can see one another. We are standing together as a group in concentric circles, and we are holding hands. And a light beam comes in a humanoid form. They are in the shape of beautiful bright white light. And they come in one at a time and step in between us, so that we are holding the hand of a traveler, and the traveler then is holding the hand of another, until we are a group that is connected, that is holding hands, travelers and humans all together as one. And we float in this beautiful light as we receive the energies of healing. So we will take a few minutes to receive these energies. Our hearts have been connected, you have been attuned to our energies. While we are in this field, we are sending forth the healing energies to each and every one of you. And while we do so, we would like to speak of the healing energies. These energies are advanced technological tools. They are here to align, streamline your energy fields and to remove that which acts as a blockage to that. They also act upon your DNA to heal and to awaken dormant genes that will lead to a fuller and deeper use of gifts that you know of and gifts that will be coming your way. The healing that is incurred by our energies, for you to know, it acts to push out what is not needed, but in so doing, it may feel to you that you are experiencing that thing that is being healed. So, as Brenda can attest through the people that have written to her or spoken to her of their healings, there are those that have experienced old dreams, a revisiting to nightmares or dreams that have caused unease. There are those who have experienced an increase temporarily of pain in those areas of the body where chronic pain has been experienced. There are those that have experienced in their personalities an increase in their ways of being, whether it be anxiety or anger. Again, what these beings have experienced are the energies as they were moving out of them. So there is no need to fear. If any of you experience any of these things, know that these are the energies that were residing within you, that were of no service to you, and that are now on their way out. It is very important that you call upon us when you need help. It is very important that you take each opportunity to learn and to grow and to enact your goodness with yourself and with others, to be kind to yourself. Truly, there is much of humanity that sadly does not know how to be kind to themselves. We hold you all in our arms, we nurture you, and we send our love. And know that as you heal, whether it is through working with us, through your own means, or through other paths, know that your joy and your confidence, the dreams that you carry in your heart, all these will be manifesting at a faster rate. At this time on earth, whatever you think, whatever you declare, whether by thought or by word, begins to manifest, the energies are quickly moving at this time. Though you may experience 7 days and 24 hours in each day and 60 minutes in each hour, there is a sense of speed and compression, because while there are still those units of measurement and those time periods exist, they are existing at an ever quickening speed. And so each week seems to fly, each day is over almost as quickly as it has started. For humanity and this planet is joining the higher dimensions of existence, and in those dimensions, the frequency of existence, the vibrations, move at a much accelerated speed. On another note regarding that, there is a sense of things moving too fast because you are still experiencing them through your physical bodies. In the higher dimensions, you will be releasing those bodies and, like us, be living as beings of energy. While there is joy in the physical body, in the material world, it is just a stage of development in all those beings who live in the universe at this time. Much like the tadpole that becomes the frog, or the caterpillar that becomes the butterfly. It is a stage to be enjoyed, to be lived thoroughly, but it is merely a stage, and you shall all rise into energy forms in the coming future. For those of you at this time that have questions, we are eager to answer them for you. Or, yeah.
We have time.
Yeah, we have time.
And limitations, what limitations do they have reference to individuals and society as to what they can do and what they can't do? We'll start with that one, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they can't do anything that we don't allow them to do, and they won't. So I always ask people to invite them in. And also, even when we ask for healing, and I know I'm aware of certain clients, certain people, there's a sense that on the one hand they're asking for it, but on the other hand, there's a wall up. And so the energies are there to travel and align anything when we don't give them, challenges. But I think they have great powers that they just choose not to use all the time. For instance, I'll give you this example. I have a Honda Civic, no snow tires. I couldn't afford them this year. I was coming back from Albany, and there was a really bad snowstorm. And there was the road that I was driving 30 miles an hour from Albany, which instead of 2 hours and 40 minutes, by the time I got home, it was 4.5. And I was really afraid of just sliding out and just landing in a ditch or, getting into a bad accident. I get to the last 10, 11 miles before my town, and the last road is very curvy and it has inclines, up and down, small hills, yeah. When I got at one point when it was flat, before I even got to any of those hills, my car spun out. And I got it straight and I went over to the side. And literally, I was just crying because I was driving like this already for 4 hours. And I thought, I'm going to land in a ditch like 10 miles from home because the road had been unplowed and it was still snowing and it was very, very. So it came over for me to say to the travelers, help me, take over my car. I need to get home tonight. I need to get home safely. And so they said they would help me, and I started to drive slowly, and then I took a deep breath because I got to the top of the hill where I should have just spun out and crashed. All of a sudden I could feel, you know when you're going up in an airplane that you're pulled down into the seat? Well, all of a sudden I felt all this weight, like my legs being pushed down, my arms felt really heavy, I was pushed down into the seat, and I started to drive the car, and the car felt like I was driving a pickup truck instead of a little 4-door. And going down that hill, it was going down exactly 8 miles an hour, exactly. Like, you know when you go on a roller coaster, it goes click, 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 you know, like that, the exact same speed, 8 miles an hour. And I was doing everything wrong. I had it on drive. I had my foot completely down on the brake, which I was told that's not how you do it. You know, that's going to cause you. So 8 miles an hour, I get to the bottom. I'm laughing hysterically because I know what's happening. They changed the field of gravity, and I was experiencing, you know, something so different. And I was so grateful not to be crashing and dying. All the emotions were coming in at the same time, and I was exhausted. And then again, whenever I'd go up or down or there were big curves, I'd yell, take over, and I would feel boom, 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 you know, and it was like driving a pickup truck, and it was like 8-9 miles an hour. So they literally changed. So I know they can do that, so I can only imagine what else they can do. Yeah.
I just had 2 quick questions.
Yeah.
One in the physical plane, for example.
Yeah.
I've had a pain in this knuckle, this thing for 10 or 12 years. They do actual specific pains in your bodies do they heal?
Yes, they can.
Just,
yes.
and then the last question.
If you've had it for 10, 12 years, the more you work with it, you know, I've known people who've had stuff for a long time and it gets better. So some of them it just goes away quickly, and some of them it just, you keep working with it. Just keep inviting it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very aware of our world has been taken over by electromagnetics, EMFs, and it's been proven that it's causing us harm, both physical, emotional, and mental. Are they aware of that, and is any of that blocking what they do?
It's not blocking what they do, but they were just saying to me as you were speaking that this is part of what they call ancient technology, you know, so this is something that's that'll be that should be thrown to the side when the next thing comes in. What I'm really getting is that, and I got this before, 20-25 years thereabouts, if all goes well, we'll be receiving technologies from off-world that will be replacing, and will be healing the earth, and will be replacing what we have. And they're showing me that the EMF is like, it's kind of like when doctors gave crude, you know, raw mercury and arsenic, you know, in Europe in medieval times up to the 19th century. So that's how they see the EMF. Yeah, that it's not good for, we're using it, we're saying it's helping us connect, but it's not helping. It's not good for us. It's a very low level, dense, unhealthy energy. Yeah. But one of the things that I hope as people receive the healing energies in their homes, that their homes begins to be filled with it. Yeah, I know my home is very different now because of it. Yes. Yeah.
Prior to this session, if one has like healing energy that channels through them, would it amplify it now so that we're able to entrain other people wherever we are?
I've been doing this since just a year and a half, so I would say you let me know. Yeah, it's very new. I do know that the healing energies they amplify. So if you're getting acupuncture, herbs, other things, they amplify the working so that everything works better and faster, so it doesn't get in the way. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering if the travelers have had, like, given you any kind of, like, insight or information on, like, other paranormal beings, like maybe ghosts or Bigfoot or
No. But it's really interesting. I work with the different dimensions. For me, I can feel when things, I'll give you this example. When my husband passed, not this May, last May, there was a point where the first 9 days he was really by my side, and I could see him, I could see the faint outline, because he was trying to give me support, while I was going through it. And there was one night where I see him sitting on his side of the bed, but at the bottom of it, and I see the outline of his body from the back. Like I felt like he was watching over me, just sitting there. And then the travelers, because their energy bodies, I started to see this after my husband died. After this has happened, I had to ask them to stop because it was too much. But I could tell they were trying to help me, that even though they didn't quite they understand death, but it's not something that they understand it personally anymore. So that night I woke up in I could tell I was in another field of energy, another astral field. And all of a sudden I saw all these different energies. One looked like a green glowing net. Then I saw 2 spheres that were grayish. Then I saw something that looked like, had a rectangular yellow head, and it was all the outline with like a stick body, stick arms, stick legs, and there was like sparks coming off. And then I saw something else that looked like, from a window, that looked like this orange reddish fog, that it was like kind of came in but kind of froze. And I knew it was them. And then I also saw my husband's body, his spirit, and I could tell that they weren't in the same field of energy. They were in different fields of energy. So that was a night that I said to them, can you keep that outside? Because it was a little too much in the bedroom, but they were trying to help me. They were all coming in. So they don't have so think about it. If you don't have a body, are you going to create something with all these details? Or are you going to be like a ball, a net? You know what I mean? You just look, I'm here. You know what I mean? So all these different shapes were them, and they were trying to help me.
You gotta like one of these. Which ones do you like?
Or maybe that's their individuality. One of them looked like fog. A few of them looked like spheres. One looked like a net. It was like a crisscross of green energy. So no, the totally different. Like even further than apples and oranges. Yeah, and then Bigfoot, yeah. I mean, if you want me to ask them what they know about Bigfoot.
I was just wondering if they ever brought it up.
Okay. Let me see what they say. Okay, so what they're saying about Bigfoot is that he's, he or she, big feet, is that the plural? No. Okay, so they're saying that they're from off of Earth, and this is the shape they've taken to be here. They said that they appear this way to us because their real energy forms look very different, and this is just how they appear to us. I don't know if what they mean is their energy form, the way it appears, makes it look that way, or they've chosen it, but they're just saying that they're off-world beings who came. Yeah, and so they're telling me that they came and that they weren't that many of them. It was almost like this crash landing kind of idea, and that then they just stayed here, but that there aren't that many of them. That's what they're saying. Yeah.
I have like a small follow-up to that.
Yeah.
Just like.
And then I know you. Yeah.
I think, in this world, like, there's many truths, or maybe truth isn't really so clear anymore. It feels like it's happening more as
Yep.
time goes on. So what, like, there's the idea of consensus reality, this narrative that we all kind of believe in. When they speak to you, what is their truth? What, like, do they believe in conspiracy theories, or do they have any kind of, like, truths outside of something that, we would usually know?
No, they're trying to feed us the energies that will help us be the best we can be, so we can make our own decisions, but from the highest perspective. Yeah, and they know that we're going to be going out into the stars, and also, and I keep getting it again and again, that we're on a time clock as a species in terms of the universe, that there are those forces out there that we have not impressed. I mean, listen, somebody said to me, "Are you afraid of them? They're extraterrestrials." I'm like, really? We're human beings. Let me see. Genocide, war, rape, honestly, no, all they've shown me is kindness. So, yeah. No, all that feels like our garbage. They're not going to get involved in our garbage. They're just going to help us pull ourselves out of it. Yeah. And the interesting thing is that they don't have a goal. Like, for instance, like they live in pods, and I mentioned the pod that I came in because I accept the fact of this, through all my experiences, that I started out as a traveler at this point, from all my experiences. So their pods are made up of, the smallest number is 9, and it goes into the thousands. And they told me how they live as a group, and they live for consensus. They can split apart and have their own conversations and bring stuff into the fold to consider, but that won't be what makes, you're never going to get one of them gets their way versus everybody else, like never. But the interesting thing is everybody receiving the energies over time, they become their best individual selves. So I think it's very loving and giving that they believe in the pod, the group, but yet they're helping us to manifest the best parts of ourselves, whether we become a group or not, as to become happy individuals, happy, fulfilled individuals. So I think that's very loving and caring. So for me, it's not just their words, but their actions.
This timeline that you've mentioned several times, is this sort of like, it makes me think of the climate crisis, like we have only so much time to get our shit together.
Yeah, I hate that message, and over the years I've gotten it over and over, not just through the travelers, that we're on a limited, we're being judged, we're on trial here, because they don't want our crap out there, all these other beings. They don't want nuclear war out there. They don't want violence. They don't want appropriation, greed. That's what we seem to do. I mean, look at our history. We've never gone to another country in peace. It's always been to grab, so we don't have a good record.
So they don't want us out in the universe.
Not like this.
Yeah.
Not like this. We're scary. It's like we have the powers to cause so much damage, but our awareness is so limited. But yet we're so dangerous, Not individually, but they're looking at us as a whole. Yeah.
There's no sense.
Yep. Sorry.
There's no sense of whether we'll get this. It's a question.
What they said was a tipping point. That if enough of us tip over where we look like we're doing the work, then it doesn't have to be everybody, but it kind of has to be like a show of force. It has to be, people rising up, and in spite of other things, we're going to keep working together. That's what we have to say right now. Yeah.
If we reach that, will these watchers, or not watchers, but these other races that are,
Yeah.
let's say, determining, I wasn't judging, but determining our worthiness,
Yeah.
if they see the critical mass, will they?
The impression I get, they'll just let us
They
keep
will
doing our
step up.
thing, evolve. Yeah.
They're just going to leave us alone if reach that?
I mean, we're not gonna be
No,
snuff.
if we reach our
Yeah,
critical, the
yeah.
critical mass and
Yeah.
we succeed,
Yeah,
that this is what they're waiting for, will they take some action by, they're waiting for something to happen, why? That's what I'm curious about, because when it happens, they're gonna take an action?
well,
Or
because if it doesn't happen,
happen,
they're gonna take an action, and the action won't be a good action.
What do you think that means?
Well,
That we
whatever it means
sequester
not
us?
letting us, it's something I don't wanna go there, cause honestly,
Okay, right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in like when we get there.
Oh,
then
yeah.
They come and they.
Well,
they
there's so many,
help teach us about how to.
I
how
think
to
that'll
move
happen,
forward.
because I know the travelers, they told me a couple years ago, in 20 years, they would be bringing in, when we're ready, bringing in technology to help us, and I'm sure they're not the only ones. So, I think there'll be, there's so many, it's like saying, like on the earth, this country, that country, we don't act as one, so they'll do different things, yeah. Yeah.
So I have some beings that have come to work with me. They also have this platinum, white, golden energy, but they call themselves the group. Is this the same
The
as
group?
the travelers or not?
Only you can answer that.
Okay.
How did it feel? I mean, I can ask them, but I prefer not to inform you of your experience.
Right.
So, how does it feel to you being here?
Oh,
Does it feel different? Does it feel what you've already been receiving?
It feels, very good, but, like I said, it is the same color energy. I just, was wondering, like, why, like why would I, work with two, or, and I'm like, well, maybe they're the same, and, I just heard their names, the group, and
Yeah. Yeah. What's your first name?
Chris.
Chris, okay. Let me see what they have to say in 1 second. Yeah, they just showed me like like a diagram where it's like rooting off, and they're showing me that there's a lot of groups. So I'm asking them if, sometimes when you ask, you don't always get exactly, sometimes when you work in this field, you just get a part of the answer because that's all you're going to get, because you're not meant to, be given the whole thing, because maybe part of it is for you to find out.
Okay.
But have you been working with them, or how do you feel about it?
They came to me to like request to work with me, and I haven't yet worked with them. I've been like saying to them, yeah.
Did you start getting UFOs and different things start to appear? That's one of the ways they nudged me. Then there was a weekend where I drew all weekend in a sketch pad, and it was all like alien energies. I felt like I was overflowing with caffeinated energy. So they have their little ways of nudging.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just like normal existence for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
How long have they been coming to you?
About a couple months now.
Okay. And they want you.
I haven't yet committed to work with them. So
Well, my suggestion is that I said to them, and by the way, we all control our own energy field. So when they first started to come to me, I would say, if you're here for my best and highest good, because that's all I allow. Secondly, I told them, I have to hear your messages. I want to make sure that I feel good about this, and I have to, so it's like, think about it as creating a friendship. Little by little, you find out. But, like I said, if you have a path with them, you might start to get nudged. Like, you might as well just deal with it. I mean, it's okay to say, no, I've heard you out, I don't want this. But this half, you know what I mean? It's not going to work in the long run. They're going to be nudging. They might or might not. Yeah. But if you feel safe receiving it, you feel safe when you receive it? Okay. Well, it might be like me where you have a past life off world and now it's time. You're awakened enough that you can do the work with them. Yeah. 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 Yes.
There have been so many times when those of other planets said they will make themselves known on the Earth to those disbelievers. Do travelers have anything to say about that?
Well, in terms of what? Because
There's been predictions they'll land on the White House.
Yeah.
There'll be things like that where all of a sudden everyone who has doubted whether they call
Right.
it the devil has now shown up.
Well-
That there'll be some physical manifestation.
so with me, I have videos and photographs that I'm going to start to share. And it's already on my website, but I just wanted to say that if someone doesn't want to believe, like I have a friend, and I jokingly say about her, if a ghost came up to her and slapped her face, she'd still deny it. You know what I mean? So there are those people that are just like, no matter what, you could show them right there. But the travelers, they are showing themselves. They showed themselves to me. There's somebody else in a center in Albany. She's been to a lot of my workshops and has done readings with me. And they've said of her that she's one of us, one of the travelers. And when she does it a couple times a week, she takes photographs and she gets some of these energies. So they are showing themselves to others. And they're showing me that our governments already know about them, but it's being controlled. You know, they're saying that it's the many different beings are coming to individuals, but it's not en masse yet. There's a sense of waiting. It's not quite yet where everybody. It's kind of coming in slowly because there's a sense they're fighting to control, and that also they don't want people to be freaked out. So it's kind of going bit by bit by bit in individuals and groups, and that'll grow. Yeah.
The grassroots effort.
Exactly, like everything else, right? Yeah. Because they're showing me that when it appears, again, like you said, the fake news, the fake media, the control, even when they appear and it gets out there, as a group right now, as a total like humanity, we tend to be very negative and very pessimistic. So it's happening more individually and in small groups. That's the way to reach people's hearts.
Question about parallel potential realities that are happening all the time in the now, and tapping into those energies that in any now moment that exist in your reality, to be able to tap into those, I physically not taking one road, deciding on another, but yet reaching into that part of me
Yeah.
to utilize it to move forward in the now.
It's actually what they're showing me. It's the opposite. When you create a shift in yourself, you shift your reality. So it's kind of like we're shifting in and out of realities very, very frequently. It could even be, depends who you are, moment by moment, depends what you're shifting. As you heal, as you become whole, every time you raise up your energy and you create more wholeness and integration within yourself, you're shifting into a better reality. It's almost like surfing. You surf in and out of waves, and that's how these realities are, and they're in motion. It's not like, they're not like just slices of bread one next to each other. Everything's intertwined, interconnected, intermeshed. So we're just choosing where to slide through.
If we're choosing a reality to shift into,
Well, it's almost like the reality we shift into is because of the state we're in.
but do we leave that other state in that old reality, and then it's millions and millions of us that are in that reality that you can tap into at any moment.
Yeah, what they're showing me is a connection. So there's different ways of sliding through the realities. One is when we're not integrated and whole and happy and, self-confident, and then we shift into more and more realities that are lower, of lower energy. But they're showing me actually that us and all of the versions of ourselves are all working at the same time. And sometimes where there's a flow, where there's a connection, where some of ourselves at the same time have that intention to reach. So for instance, think about like a room with I'm sorry, what is your first name? Marianne, right?
Marianne.
Yeah, right.
Thank
Think
you.
about a room with 50 Mariannes, and all of a sudden 12 of them decide this is the day they're going to deal with their procrastination issue, Then all of a sudden there's this interconnection, the strengthening of energies going through, and it could be like a jump for all of them, and maybe the other Mariannes are still like, nah, I'm going to procrastinate. So they just all jump together, or there could be just differences. Some Mariannes are doing this, some that. So sometimes you can interconnect and things happen, but it's usually because there's something that you and another Marianne have a point of connection in what you're working on.
So you can consciously tap into
Yeah.
what is needed at the moment.
Yeah, what I would do is for instance, giving the example of procrastination, if you wanted to work on it, I would just put out the call, all the Mariannes who want to work on procrastination, let's do it, girlfriends. Because it's about intention. If you don't, you have to declare it. Once you declare it, then you put that energy into the world, Just depends where everybody else is at, because at the same time, there's free will, but there's also, we're all affected by one another.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Sharon.
I'd like to ask you about the polarity that is happening on the planet everywhere, throughout.
And what do you mean by the polarity?
It's like, there's the right wing and the left wing, or I'm right and you're wrong. It's like a really strong dynamic right now.
Yeah.
And I've heard the Dolores Cannon perspective on it. She talks about the separating, becoming two worlds.
Right.
And I was, in physics, when you...
They just didn't agree with that, becoming two worlds.
Okay.
They said all of you are one. They're almost like, not mad, but they're like insistent, because I think in their civilization, leave no traveler behind. To them, it's like insulting that you would ever think of giving up on another.
Uh-huh.
So that goes to show you their culture.
Yeah.
And that goes to show you our culture, that we would even think, all right, you guys there, me here, I'm flying up, kind of like the heaven-hell,
Interesting.
Yep. So they're saying no, that's a choice.
Okay.
So that's a choice. And if we as a culture, as a civilization choose, that's what's going to manifest. But they really would like us to get to the core of connecting emotionally, energetically, and not through labels and outward stuff. Yeah.
Can I add to that?
Yeah. Yeah. And then,
What I've channeled recently about, let's face it, everything's a mess,
Yeah.
So what I've channeled about that recently is, they're showing us duality. They're showing us exactly what you just said, so that we can look at it and go, ew, and then embrace unity, embrace the cosmic consciousness, and realize that we are all one. We're not that, we're all one. But until it comes to this part of our mind, we as humans, and then we go, ew, how do we
Yeah.
embrace it?
exactly.
That's what I've changed. This is why everything is just so nuts now.
When we do all these things like connect to our spirit guides and meditate and help others, but if we hold that thought of I'm doing all this, so I'm on my way, then we're already in the lower energies because we separated. And that's also ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea of the intensity of energy also right now.
Yeah, because we're meant to jump to the next level. It's we're in a pressure cooker, You know, I would tell my clients that sometimes there are times when we're meant to grow, we're meant to move forward, we're not meant to be in a certain place or with a certain person. And if we keep saying later, later, you know, the walls start to come in, and then we get to the point where we have to change, but it's in a way that's so painful and uncomfortable and with so much suffering. And that's what we're choosing as a human race. We're choosing to do it the hard way.
I love that they mentioned the Great Awakening.
Yeah.
Because actually that's a term that's being used
Oh,
a
is it?
lot. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a thing. It's
Okay.
a thing now. And that they are recognizing that we are going through the so-called Great Awakening, that our energy is changing, we're getting more gifts, and that this is going to be increasing. So I was wondering, we're experiencing that in our dimension or density that we are in our bodies. I'm wondering, have they, their experience in whatever density they are in, have they experienced an awakening that is happening at simultaneous with us? And if other civilizations are also experiencing a change, and if they could maybe describe it somehow to us, what it's like for them.
Our awakening has come about through the source of all. We have come more aware of the one light, and our connection to it has strengthened. We live in perpetual joy, in delight to serve this light and to share it with all. Our awakening bids us to help others to experience this light of the one. We release all, and I'm getting a feeling, the word is debt, but it's not, and boy, the energy just came through really strongly. I just got a little dizzy. There's this energy of debt. What they're saying is, however they're helping others, we don't owe them anything, and whoever they help, there is no debt. So it feels like their awakening is kind of heading toward enlightenment, heading toward joining with the one. They call it the one light. I don't know, is it our idea of God? I don't know, but I just get a lot of joy from them, a lot of joy and excitement, like that kind of spiritual joy. That is ours, yeah.
So are they, Sharon? We're told that we're in the third dimension, third density, or whatever. Some also are saying that we have moved to high third, where we are experiencing also a lower form. Do they, I mean, if that's even accurate, or if they even use such ideas, like our scientists have now started to say that our brains are actually pre-programmed or already able to process up to 11 dimensions or densities. So I guess I'm wondering where they might put themselves if that scale
They're
makes
just
any
words.
sense.
They're just words. It's like human beings need labels.
Right, we label everything.
Yeah, there's really no, and again, it's not like the 11, it's like literally like 7-layer cake. Oh, this is this layer.
Yeah.
It's just
Same
labels,
cake. It's still
labels.
one cake.
Yeah.
Are they related at all to the Agarthans?
The who?
The Agarthans, they're
Um,
inner earth beings?
The what?
Inner earth beings that are very high frequency?
No, they're definitely not. Yeah, I've had experiences, I guess astral traveling, and I go through a wormhole and pop out in another area of space. So they're not from our dimension. Yeah. Sandy.
Now I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced that.
Yeah.
And I would say that is
I guess how I understood that time doesn't, you know, the real
Mhm.
reality of time and how we created it.
It's like this weird floating, this weird, like, and it feels just endless, right?
Well, I've had it a few different times, but one was actually a tunnel that was like blue light.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of blue, what I would describe it as looks like lightning,
Yeah.
almost, but solid blue.
Yeah.
And then I came out into a room, and there were just all different beings there, and they were kind of like looking at me like, "What is she doing here?" I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
So that was.
Yeah, I
kind
wonder
of-
if you got into the Akashic records, where there's, when I went into,
And
What-
another time I actually went through space and into darkness and then,
yeah,
you know, but that one time
yeah,
there was also a segment where they basically showed me something and it was definitely like alien type crafts, and that I didn't recognize it for anything. And like a week later I was laying on the couch sick in the middle of the winter. You know, whatever I was watching, I fell asleep and I woke up and Star Wars was on, which I don't watch Star Wars. And
Yeah.
the exact crap that I saw was on the television. So for me, that was showing me time.
yeah,
I didn't take that as that's what it is. I
Right,
thought
right.
That I was going to see it.
yeah,
And I've had those kind of prophetic type of
Yeah.
visions and dreams a lot.
well,
So,
all of us can do that, and all of us have those kind of connections. It's I think a combination of intention, like we want it, we welcome it, and we're ready for it when everything comes together. So I would say explore it. Did you enjoy it?
I did. It actually put me on a quest for, I read so many books because then of course you have to try to explain. You
Yeah.
have to try to rationalize everything. So
Nah, I don't.
in a year I probably purchased and read like 90 books, you know.
Yeah,
all
yeah,
different
yeah.
subjects, too.
And you know, books are fine, but if it's not written in a book, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Because we're at a point where each one of us is having very unique experiences that are just for us, that won't be anywhere, and they're as valid as what's in the books. So if you can't Google it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You know, it means you gotta put it into Wikipedia or whatever, your version of it. But I had the experience. They did a very deep healing on me recently, and I thought I was out, and it felt like I was sinking down, and I thought I was out for 15, 20 minutes. It was an hour. It felt like 15 minutes. So that was a sense of, you know, time, like time just quickly. I think right now, what they're showing me in the sense that I'm getting is everything is intermeshing, opening up. There aren't any solid walls for anything. So I would say, like, have fun. This is fun. Have fun, explore. Find your joy in whatever dimension. But this is a part of us. It's part of our birthright. And it's time that we just, one of the things that I want to do with, like, when I do my slideshow presentation, because I want to show the whole traveler experience in a cohesive manner, and the videos and everything. I want to skip, I'm tired of the question, I don't know, could it be this? I don't know if it's that, could it be this, could it be that? I just want to skip right over to, I don't know what this is, but it's not from here, and then continue the conversation. Because it's getting old, you know, are there this, are there that? So we got to move on. It's like it's our time to connect. Let's not waste any more of it. Yeah.
What were you gonna say about the Akashic records?
Just that you might have, there weren't all kinds of alien beings. When I was shown the Akashic records, I didn't know what they were. And during a shamanic journey, went upward to the upper world, and it was this room that I couldn't see where it ended, you know. And there were all these beings of white light, and I knew it was a place of great knowledge, and I was being asked to join. And I put that off for a couple of years. You know, and now I work with the Akashic records, and again, it's like all these different dimensions, you need them. The Akashic records show me things about people's energy fields, energy records, that then the travelers can heal, or you can bring in so many things. It's an amazing, you know, buffet of things that we can connect to nowadays and work with.
Just a naive question.
Yeah.
So in the Akashic records, did it have your incarnation as a traveler, or only when you once come to Earth plane is the Akashic records up?
That was two separate incidents. So went to the Akashic record years before, and the traveler said to me, once I started to work with the Akashic records, my frequency was high enough that they could connect with me.
Is the
And they told me that I was, because
okay.
when I finally agreed to channel for them, after I saw that big star portal, and I said, please, feet on earth, don't want to go anywhere. And I said, all right, I know you did this for me. It was like, at that point, it was like the 4th, 5th, 6th experience. You know?
You sound like me. It's like, all right.
You're such a New Yorker.
I get it.
You know? It's like, all right, I get it.
And I said, okay, but I'm just an Earth girl. So and then they said, Brenda, you're one of us. So I'm like, all right. You know, then I was shocked. I was like, what? You know, because I just thought of myself as a human being, that maybe I had past life. You know, I knew I had past life, but I never thought I was an alien. Never looked to be one. But interestingly enough, my niece, she went through a period of saying, I'm an alien, except I couldn't talk to her about it because my sister's very black and white, you know, the other side. But so there's something there, you know, there's something there. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Excellent. So LSD, peyote, mushrooms, ecstasy, these all seem, not that I've ever taken any of those, but
No, of course not.
from what I've read about it or experienced, that they do open up different realms, different realities. And I remember one time thinking or knowing that this is the way the human experience is supposed to be, and realizing the difference between it and the actual reality we live in most of the time. Are those portals? Are those places that give us a chance to experience how our higher selves or the way things should be?
Yeah, those are, with those you're working with plant spirits, which are very ancient and powerful. And I know right now a lot of people are working with the plant spirits, but there's something that I want to say about it. So it's called plant spirit medicine. You know, when you receive the medicine of working with an animal spirit guide or with a plant spirit, you know, you call it medicine. And medicine, you take medicine when you need it for something, when you need help, when you need healing. And so what I would say is that if it calls to you, if you're drawn to it, and you ask, is this for me? And you ask the plant spirit, like ayahuasca or San Pedro. I was called to work with San Pedro Masada. It's a cactus from Peru. And I was called to work with it, and I did it twice, and then I wasn't called to do it again. So if you're called to it, and you ask, and it gets confirmation, the experience you have from it, you need to integrate it. Otherwise, it's like going to the circus. You know, I had a client who said in 1 year, or in 2 years, she did ayahuasca 48 times.
Oh my God.
And I'm thinking, nobody's called to do that much, because it's, you know, when you take medicine to heal, then you're better. Then you see, do you need it again, either for learning or for, but it's kind of like going to the circus, you know, people, so you have this experience, but it could just be this experience that's like we're watching a great movie that if you don't integrate it, it doesn't matter. It's like nothing. You can't have one ridiculously over-the-top experience after the other nonstop. Then it's worthless. Because just one could be that nugget of gold that changes your life, but you need to respect it, integrate it, work with it, and then see if it calls to you again. So for me, that's why it's called medicine. So yeah, they are portals to working with. The plant spirits are very ancient and they work in their own ways, but they do bring in the energies and can do everything that the travelers and other beings can do. They just do it in their own way, you know, depending the plant. Yeah.
I just want to say it's 3 o'clock now.
Yes.
And we may decide we want to continue a little longer or not.
Yeah, if anybody has a last question, or if you have a lot of questions, let me know. But if you have 1 or 2 last questions, and then, yeah. No? Everybody good? Yes.
Are the travelers in, do they work with other galaxies, other systems?
No, they work with them. They just said they work with themselves. They're aware, of all the others, and they may be in communication, but their thing is their own thing. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I just say, I want to know if they accept AAA.
So like,
I wanted to, you mentioned that the travelers said that, and I think you also said, before you began, that you were looking to create something with your home and the energies that are there. And it's something that, I mean, for the past week, I've been formulating my questions and my desires and all that stuff, and I just think it's so amazing that right in your first message and I've got like, I don't know, maybe 27 questions.
Well,
They
we can
went-
get together. Yeah.
They went through them, and when I was doing it, I knew I
Yeah.
was doing it.
oh, they answered it
I
already?
knew, but I had
Yeah.
I had a feeling that they
Yeah.
were going to be addressing the issues that were coming up.
Yeah.
So there was so much that I didn't even have to. But one of them that I did want to have come to be was doing something at your house, like maybe even contact night kind of a
Yeah.
thing, or something else. And I was just curious about other people here that are here now.
Well,
Would
interesting.
they be interested in doing something
Yeah.
at your meeting at your house at some point?
I would love to have that, and since my husband passed, I'm just getting everything back together again, so I'm on the verge of organizing something like that at my home, but the
We're
energies...
inviting ourselves over.
Sorry?
We're inviting ourselves over.
I'm glad. No, please come.
When
No,
she
no,
started,
please
she said she
come.
wanted to.
No, I do. So that's why it's happening now. But the interesting thing is when I do workshops there, or if somebody's visiting me, people that stay over, even if they have insomnia, they have the best night's sleep. But if they're only there 3-4 hours, certain people, I think the ones that resonate, no, because not everybody resonates to the traveler energy. They might like it, but some people resonate even more. And so people will be like just really exhausted, like be at my house for 3 hours, be really exhausted and need to take a nap because it's like they received a healing. And I had one client who did a workshop with me. She got home that night, she felt the travelers, kind of like the ET finger poking on her forehead. And she asked me about it, and I said, and they said they were just really happy to have her there, that she has, her energies resonates very well. You know, there's like, you know, different degrees of familial, you know, in the familiar, like first cousin, second, third, fifth. Mm-hmm. So some people are much closer, but some people are still on the family line a little further out. So she was one of them.
So you concerned about like having enough bunk beds or room for everybody?
Oh no, not to stay over. No, just saying that the energies, some people being there might really, you know, go home and be like, and you know, have gotten a healing. Yeah.
So I'm curious, are there any people that would be interested in coming to?
Oh, thank
Brenda's
you.
at some point?
Well, thank you. I would love that. And by the way, they're open to people. You know, like there are people who maybe want to see what the energies are like and set up equipment. They're open to that. They say, we want to be known, we want to be seen, we're fine with that. We just ask that whoever does it be respectful. But short of that, they're fine with it, you know. And anyway, that'll be fun. That'll be fun to see the energies
And they
and
like
people
the full
take pictures.
moons.
What?
They like the full moons?
They like the full moon, the new moon. They like when there's humidity, some of the photographs, when there's rain and snow and fog. When I take the photographs, so I have these pictures of like solid pink fog, like a wall of fog, like you can't see through it. So you think I live in the middle of, I don't know, London on steroids. But when I'm taking the picture, that's not what I see. But it's the energies. So they act differently with the different humidity. They really love it. They love the water.
So, are you surprised when you develop something or you look at it? Because
Not anymore.
Oh, I guess not surprised, but you're taking a photo
Yeah.
and you don't know what actually.
Oh yeah, some
will
of them,
show
but I'm
us.
able to see it more now. So yeah, no, it used to be the first time I did my first video, and I had I can't even explain it. Come to my slideshow, you'll see. I'm holding the video and I see the ships and they're different shapes, and I know it's on the other side of my camera because of my phone. And I was a little, and I'm just like, okay, just because it's really nerve-wracking. Everybody wants this experience, but when you actually get it at first, it's a little, at least for me, a little like scary, you know? So I'm like, okay, they're on the other side of the camera. Just stand still and keep, you know, because I wanted to run. Because they appear and disappear, and I had everything. I have the beam me up Scotty lights. I have the little ships. I mean, honestly, this conversation can really move forward quickly once I can get it out. And so I'm working with somebody to put it together.
Okay, so you have a time frame?
I'm
for
hoping
that?
for October.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sometime in October, Narrowsburg,
Okay.
because that's the hometown for the travelers right now.
John, what do you think of all the, that she's talking about, seeing stuff like that? Does that happen to places that you go to also?
Like
You
when
see the energy?
through photography.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of experience that Brenda's having, it's like, they're here every day,
Mm.
just seeing all these things,
Sure.
it's like, oh my God, it's like, is that a common thing?
I mean, I've been having this really strange experience lately where I've been seeing like the only thing I could describe is like ghost birds. It's like they look a lot like birds, but they're
In the photographs?
no, in through my vision. Just the past, I think it's like just the past like 3 days. Like it's like manifested in like some where they seem more solid, but they're always completely silent and they disappear basically right before my
Do
eyes.
they look like real birds? Are they the same
They have
colors?
wings. They look like they have wings,
They
but
look
they're
like
like a
species-
little bit more like soft or translucent, more see-through
Yeah.
or something like that. I've never experienced it before in my life, but just the past
So-
couple of days.
Yeah, so one of the photographs that I have is it's taken at night, and there's a small pine tree growing, and underneath the pine tree, and you can actually see the pine tree through it, is a squirrel standing up. Now squirrels, at night, they're going to be in a tree, you know? I was a wildlife rehabilitator. I took care of squirrels and birds, and it's just standing there, but you can see the flash, you can see the tree behind the squirrel, you know, through the squirrel. And it's a ghost. But then I have also on a fence, like, it looks like a raccoon face, but it's gray and black, and there's 3 pictures where it's there and then it's morphing away. So kind of what I think about the bird, 2 things. One, if it's a real bird, then again, the different dimensions are morphing together, like we're able to experience it because we're all vibrationally rising up and able to. Or secondly, like the one that looks like a raccoon looking over the fence, I don't think is a real raccoon. I think for some reason, again, it could be something with the travelers, because sometimes I think I see little faces, and you know how we think of aliens as all being cookie cutter, but we're not as human beings. And when I think I see some faces in some of the photographs and some of the orbs, some of them look very animal-like, some of them look like, I don't know, like elves or trolls. There's one that has, like, I keep seeing has a very long nose, a very long pointed chin, very wide eyes, and some of them have animal shapes. So who's to say that you know, that the travelers, that they don't have, they call it putting on the skin, their skins, because they don't have bodies, but how they represent themselves or what they look like, they don't have to be cookie cutter, you know. So for me, the bird, it's either a ghost bird that everything is meshing together and you can see it, or it's an extraterrestrial thing if it looks like a bird but not a real bird.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much.